Let's do it about this and discuss it. And then once we recommend
Pero
it,
eso es lo que vamos a hacer, ¿no? Eso es lo que vamos a hacer, discutirlo.
Bueno, venga, es decirle. Good evening and welcome to the Ordinance Subcommittee. Today is Thursday, May 11, 2017. Members are present is Councilor Giovanni Rodriguez and Councilor Modesto Maldonado. Please, can I get a motion to approve the minute of the meeting of April 27?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Thank you. Our first item is document 15717. It's a transfer vendor license, 315 High Street. That has been put in by Angel Bisono. So I'm just gonna check to make sure. Okay, he has all the sign of, this is a renewal. He's been coming in front of us for like the last
Many
5 years. Councilor, do you have any question?
I don't have any question, Madam Chair. Again, this gentleman has been doing this for quite a number of years, so what I would like to do is on this, Councilor Rodriguez.
Councilor has a question.
Okay, then I
You have a
will,
question? Okay, so,
I would like to make the motion that we send it up to the full council with a favorable recommendation.
second.
motion has been made, properly second. All those in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Mr. Bisono, you need to come back next Tuesday. Angel? You need to come back next Tuesday to our next city council meeting. Thank you for being here. Councilor, can I get a motion to take document 166 out of order?
So move.
All those in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Document 16617 is a national night out, citywide national night out against crime, South Common Park, South Union Market Street area, on Monday, July 31st, from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. in a block party on Neighborhood Colonial High, Neighborhood at Cuddle in Darso Avenue in District 8, Neighbor 165 East Haverhill, in Redmond's Lutheran Church, and Mount Vernon Neighborhood Association on Hill Neighborhood Reservoir on Tuesday, August 1st, from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m., and that has been put in by Harold Magood.
Good evening. Thank you, councilors. This is National Night Out, our annual public safety event. We've had a public safety committee made up of residents and public safety officials, EMS, Lawrence General folks have been meeting on this, and so we've developed this plan for Monday, July 31st, as the councilor talked about over in the South Common. We decided to go with the South Common because we really needed to have some extra space. We anticipate having a lot of public safety displays there, the Mass State Police. We're going to bring a couple units up, and then there's the smokehouse from the fire department, so folks can train about what to do when there's a fire. So we really needed that extra space, so we decided to move it over to the South Common. And then the following evening is the first Tuesday in August. Lawrence again joins the rest of the nation in celebrating National Night Out across the nation and partnering with public safety officials. So that's the schedule that we've developed, and we've also got a public safety motorcade that's organized by the police department that'll be leaving City Hall about 5:15 and delivering, or actually visiting all of the different neighborhoods on that evening. So.
Councilor, any question?
Motion to send it to the full council with a favorable recommendation.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have it.
Thank you.
for being here. And
Thank
you
you.
also need to be here next Tuesday for
Yes.
our next city council meeting. Thank
Great.
you.
Thank you, councilors.
Thank you. Councilor, can I get a motion to take document 16917 out of order?
So move.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Document 16917 is a Children and Friends and Family Service use of Component Common for mental health awareness month and ice cream a social on May 18 from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. And that has been put on the agenda by Catherine Bulmer. Good evening.
So, so it's Mental Health Awareness Month.
Can you
and
say your name, your
My
address?
name is Catherine Volmar. What else do I need to say?
Yeah.
Oh, and so I work for Children's Friends and Family Services. I'm the office manager there. We have 4 sites, one in Gloucester, Lynn, Salem, and Lawrence, and each site has picked how they want to celebrate Mental Health Awareness Month. And so we decided to just give out like an ice cream social, and so each topping would be based on a mental health topic, and it's just to give out ice cream. There'll be like no music. We didn't want to do it at the office just because we didn't want to, I don't think a lot of people would know. And it would be just from 5 to 8 p.m., or from 5 to 7, I think it was.
Catherine, this is the first time that you're gonna be doing this type of event?
No, we do it every year, but it's the first time we've decided to do it at a location like at a park.
Okay. Yeah, okay. So just give me 1 second.
Sure.
Okay, so Councilor, any other question?
Make a motion to send it up to the full council with a favorable recommendation.
Second.
All's in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Thank you, Catherine. You also need to be here for our next city council meeting, which is gonna be next Tuesday.
Is that at 7?
7, yes.
Sounds good, thank you.
Thank you. I have to take it.
That's the same.
Councilor, can I get a motion to take document 169 out of order?
That was what we discussed, right?
174 out of order.
So move.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Document 17417 is an ice cream truck vendor license at 76 Newberry Street that has been put in the agenda by Francisco Valdez.
Says the renewal. He said renewal.
I know, it's a renewal.
Hi.
Hi. You have any questions?
In the meantime, while you guys check them out.
Yes.
So you drive around Lawrence?
Yes.
For how long you been doing it?
For how long?
Yeah,
Oh, it's getting over 10 years.
over 10 years?
Yeah, that happened in here before. You only have to take you come in here, but you get the state license only.
Okay. So and what neighbors, do you go throughout Lawrence, throughout the whole city, or just
No,
the north
around
or the
it,
south?
around.
Okay.
Any more questions? Okay.
What's up with the papers?
No question.
Any
All right,
question?
I would like to make a motion to send it to the full council with a favorable recommendation.
Second.
Motion has been made, properly second. All those in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Thank you for being here. You also need to be here next Tuesday for our next city council.
Okay. Gracias. Bye-bye.
Okay. The next document in out of order, can I get a motion to take document 17517 out of order?
So move.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Document 17517 is also a transit rental license, 140 Water Street, that has been put in by Olga Jimenez. It's also a renewal. Councilor, you have any questions?
How you doing?
Hi.
What do you actually do with your truck, with the transient vendor? You sell food?
Spanish, please.
Oh, that's fine.
Okay.
Olga? Excuse me, Councilor. Yeah? To what?
To translate.
To translate, but we need to let her know
Tony.
that we don't have,
Can you translate for her?
so, what we need to do is, so we don't have her applications. I don't know if she has any paperwork that she needs to pass on tonight.
Como si yo traje todos los papeles. Yo cargo las copias aquí.
An inspection.
Let me just check what is.
Esa aplicación la va a firmar, guardan cuando ustedes aprueben.
Okay.
Ajá, sí, pero yo todo traje. Es
All the
renovación.
forms here, and the form that you're gonna sign is the one that you have in front of you.
Yeah, because
It
the rest
was
of the,
kept here for you to sign.
Okay. Because I have all the sign off for every other department.
Tienen los firmes de todos los departamentos de la ciudad.
Sí.
Okay. Councilor Rodriguez, continue if you have any other question.
No,
Do
I'm
you?
just
Yeah.
waiting for you
So-
guys to check out the papers.
I do have a question for her. Do you own any property in Lawrence?
Tú eres dueña de cualquier propiedad o cualquier solar en la ciudad.
Yo vivo en Methuen, pero yo trabajo aquí en Lawrence.
A ver, Metro Uno.
No, okay. So, yeah, it's just a sign off from the, inspection department?
Yes.
Which is just without, and she can bring it whenever we gonna be having. So can I get a motion to?
Can I get a motion to send it to the full council, to the full council with no recommendation pending the signature from the,
Food inspection.
for the food inspection?
I second the motion.
Motion has been made, properly second. All's in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So can you explain to her?
Y lo paso.
Yeah, so, yeah, but she needs to make sure that she's gonna bring, the sign up from the food, inspection, so that way. it's-
Open inspection
Yeah.
service. Lo que usted tiene que hacer es irse al segundo piso para hablar con la gente allá, porque hay un firme que usted se precisa todavía para el serve safe, para vender comida.
Sí.
¿Ok?
Sí, todos los años porque yo es renovación.
Okay,
O tiene que firmar.
yeah.
Hay uno más que le falta.
Sí,
Ya,
pero
le falta uno.
sí, porque ese que iba a firmar no lo podían firmar hasta que yo viniera aquí con ustedes.
Entonces el martes te viene con la nueva.
So Tuesday, she needs to bring the sign up.
The one that is
Entonces,
missing.
el martes que viene, eso se va al concilio el martes que viene. Entonces, usted tiene que venir
Yo tengo que venir.
con el firma allá el martes.
Con esa firma que le falta.
Pero
tiene
¿cuál
que
es la hoja que tienen que firmar? Tienen que decirme la hoja.
Váldamela, yo creo.
Sí, porque esa
Valda.
hoja, ajá,
Yeah.
esa hoja ella me lo
It's
dieron.
Valda who needs to sign it.
Sí, pero Walda lo va a firmar cuando usted tenga la aprobación de
Qué
ustedes.
bueno que podemos tener esa reunión acá hoy en español.
Yes, no, okay. So what we're gonna do is, if that's gonna make you, thank you. We really appreciate that. But that recommendation came from you. You know that, right?
I know.
So,
I started
so
it.
you
Oh,
need
you
to
got it
pay,
now.
so you need to pay that. You recommend us that we cannot translate it for them.
Yeah.
So, but just tell her that she needs to bring that Tuesday.
Ellos, pero yo sí. Entonces,
pero
le
esa
falta
hoja-
una firma en el documento, en la solicitud que tiene que
Pues
obtener
esa
antes
hoja
de-
es que me dijeron que tenían que firmármela cuando aquí me
Tal vez lo que
aprobaran.
nosotros podamos hacer es sacar una copia de la hoja misma.
Yo tengo
con-
la copia.
Ok.
Tengo todo aquí.
Entonces, usted se puede ir con la copia
Yo
para
tengo-
obtener el firma de
De Valda,
Mila
sí.
en la copia.
So what she has to say,
Just told her that we recommend it to the full council with no, well, we send it to the full council with no recommendation.
Pending.
But it's pending that signature.
Ok, eso lo van a mandar al concilio entero para el martes que viene, sin recomendación ninguna, porque le falta esa firma. Con esa firma lo puede pasar.
¿Y qué pasaría si yo voy en de Waldan y le digo que me firme y ella no quiere
Hay
firmar?
que ver.
Porque esa es una hoja que cuando ellos me den a mí un sí, ellos me van a firmar esa hoja. Pero ellos me tienen que...
You already have that.
Porque eso fue lo que a mí me dijeron.
okay.
Cuando yo fui al segundo piso.
Okay, let's start this again. This is something new. I don't know why it have to come here before she signed.
Afuera yo.
It's not the way it is. Attorney, can you recommend, or can you actually guide the person that is requesting her?
Yeah, I just said to her, I'll give her my card. She can come up and see me. When she comes, I'll go down with her, see Valda.
And explain,
Yes, and that way Valda is clear for the future.
And we'll get that information.
Porque
Assuming it meets Valda's approval, we'll get the information to you.
Yeah,
Okay, but we
well, for
also,
the future reference as well.
we have to let her know that the reason that we are asking over and over the same question is because this is something new. We supposed to have all the signature before we pass any document to be recommended.
Es que eso es algo nuevo.
Oh, sí, porque eso no pasó el año pasado. Por
Okay.
eso yo tengo un
Good.
poquito de duda,
We
porque
clear.
El año pasado es
Para
una cosa
ellos,
nueva
para
y para
usted
mí
y-
también.
Yes,
Exacto.
okay.
También a la vez.
And I don't think that's the way it should be.
Y no tengo ganas de traducir nada al inglés. Ahora.
Charles, can we contract you to be an interpreter?
That may be the only thing I
Besides the many hats?
Entonces yo
Okay.
regreso el otro martes.
Got you, I
Okay.
took advantage of it
Okay,
today.
so just tell her,
Eso mira a mi oficina.
Okay.
Usted puede ir conmigo para que yo le dé mi tarjeta.
Está bien, thank you, gracias.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. I mean, I'm sorry for the inconvenience. Counselor, can I get a motion to take document 14117 out of table and out of order?
So move.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Document 14117 is the Love Out Loud project request to use the Camponon Common to hold the Walk for Love event from June 3rd, 2017, from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Rain day, June 24. That has been put on the agenda by Loida Dominguez Rosario. Loida.
Hi, so my name is Loida Dominguez Rosario, and I'm creating a walk from love. My goal that day is to help change the perspective of love lives outside of us to the essence of who we are and what we are is love. I plan to use the stage to perform and have other artists perform to really give out that message that we're not our masks. And that's pretty much it.
This is the first time that you're going to be hosting this event?
Yes, it is.
Okay. What is your expectation on, like,
what do you
are you going to be promoting this? How are you going to planning to?
Well, yes, I'm definitely promoting it. I have flyers. I have a Facebook page that I'm sending out. I'd like for it to be a big thing, as anybody that's creating something is, and I really think I have a great message. What I'm aware of is that I was lost in my life, and I did a lot of work to find myself and my truth, and I want to help others do the same.
Are you going to be having any speaker or any sound?
Yeah.
Yes. If you are going to do so, what we are going to encourage you is that you can pour the speaker to your group, not to the public.
Okay.
So, people who are not in this, they don't get, bothered by the sound, because we get a lot of complaints sometimes when it's too loud.
Okay, so just to get this right, so you're asking me to put the
To your
speakers
group, yeah. to your-
toward the
Yeah, toward to
people
your
that are
group,
there. Okay.
yes. And also, you have to make sure, since that this is going to be your first time, and when someone come and apply for the first time, we have to let them know what is the regulations. You need to leave the park clean as you find it.
Yes.
So you need to pick any litters or any trash that you might can see.
Absolutely.
Councilor, any question?
I make the motion that we send it up to the full council with a favorable recommendation.
Discussion.
Second with
Second discussion.
discussion, Councilor Rodriguez.
So when you say that it's gonna be from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m., are you including the time to set up and to actually finish the event
Yes,
in terms of cleaning?
yes.
So you're gonna have the park for 4 hours, but you planning on using it?
Yeah, like
Or
I'm
do
giving
something.
myself I plan to probably finish like by 12:30, but giving myself like at least a half hour to have people help clean up and get everything out.
Because this is the first time that you're doing this. How many spectators you might have?
Maybe 100,
Maybe 100?
but I'm not sure. I'm just throwing a number out there, to be honest, but I'd love more. I'd love a lot of people. I'd love for you guys to come too.
Thank you.
Definitely.
June 3rd, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you for the invitation. So, in terms of vehicles in the park, the regulation is that they're not allowed, right?
The what?
The vehicles getting into the
The
park,
vehicles in the park, yes. Thank you.
they're not allowed.
They not, no.
They're not
Only
allowed.
to load, if they need to drop anything, you just bring it in, but you have to park it on the side. You cannot leave any vehicle inside of the park.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Councilor Rodriguez. Any more question?
All right, that'll be all. Thank you.
Motion has been made, properly second. All those in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have it. You also need to come back next Tuesday for our next city council meeting.
Okay, thank you
And thank
so
you for
much.
being here. And
Thank
good luck with.
Thank you.
Thanks. Okay, what is 212 is the document
Uh,
table?
Yeah, the first one is the barber shop,
Yeah, 212.
which is,
212. Can I get a motion to take document 212 out of table and out of order?
so move.
212?
Yeah, 21216, page 4.
Second.
All's in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Document 21216 is the barber shops and beauty salons closing time that has been put in the agenda by Councilor Maldonado.
Madam Chair, the last time that we spoke about this document, we had sent communications to the Inspection Service Department and to the city clerk and the city attorney to look into regulations that may apply on the time that a barber shop or a beauty salon could be open. For some reason, there was never any documentation that came back, and Pat Ruiz from the Inspection Service Department called me up last week to inquire about the status, and he was supposed to be here tonight, but we had asked the city attorney to look, the city attorney and the city clerk, to look into what could be used, whether ordinance or regulations by the state to prohibit barbershops from staying open all night, barbershops and salons. And I guess Pat Ruiz spoke to you, Mr. Carroll?
Sure.
Huh?
Sure, I can fill you in if you like.
Yes. So with your permission, if we can ask Mr. Carroll to speak to us, because since they represent the state
Sure.
agency that regulates
Sure.
the licensing.
I know you've got a lot to do, and first and foremost, I want to thank everybody. The solicitors have been wonderful. Ms. Waters has been wonderful. We've worked with them in the last few months on some initiatives, and I talked to the solicitors this afternoon, so they're actively engaged in this issue. But let me fill you in on who I am, what we're about, and maybe that might help the process. I'm Chris Carroll. I'm Chief of Investigations at the Division of Professional Licensure, and we license 28 professions and occupational schools. Our professions go from funeral directors to electricians, plumbers, and we also license the cosmetology industry, which is barbers, manicurists, and we've been up here before. And what you're faced with is we've encountered in other communities throughout the Commonwealth, and we've been out and we've worked with them. So as much as this is how other communities have addressed it, a few years ago there was a severe problem in Boston where their barbershops were turning into 24-hour all-night clubs, and they weren't cutting hair, there was illegal activities, there was all sorts of things going on that people didn't want in the community. So we worked with Boston. We went out with Boston on a couple of nights, and the only reason we really went with Boston on a couple of nights was we were able to get the Boston police to have immediate access to these salons. But Springfield was another example. We went up to Springfield and we encountered pool tables, big TVs, these people partying at night. So what Springfield did, they did it by ordinance. They adopted an ordinance that people, if you wanted to have a barbershop and you wanted to have these entertainment devices, shall we call it, you had to have an entertainment license. So Springfield handled it that way. Fall River has handled it in a very similar way by ordinance. And what happens with us is when we go out in the field and we close a salon, we work with the local building department, we work with the local board of health. Years ago, I came up to Lawrence many, many years ago, and we worked with some barbershops, and the building department and health department closed them down because of building issues. But we were there. My suggestion would be if you developed an ordinance, which I think is a fantastic idea, with the limiting of hours, and then your police officer, your peace officer went around and found these people violated the ordinance, then what we could do as we did this winter up here, you could forward it to us and we could threaten action on their licenses. So if, for example, you developed an ordinance that no barber shops could be open at 9 o'clock, after 9 o'clock, and you sent around a police officer, and they cited it somehow and sent a report, then what we could do is we could take that report and take that finding of the police officer, and then we could bring the person into Boston for a hearing, or we could take a sanction on their license for, you see, with all the professions we license, it actually says in the boilerplate of the license that they have to follow all applicable federal, state, and local regulations. And that probably would be the punch, because I was here in January, Ms. Waters invited me, went around to used car lots, and we found violations, and we came up here, and the licensing board then took our findings and said to the lots, you know, one more time and you're going to have a problem. In this particular case, if you had, you know, your ordinance and you found a violation, then we'd gladly do a sanction. And in the meantime, if, you know, and I would have to run it by my staff, you know, I'm the only fool that probably comes out late at night for hearings and stuff like that, but if you had a select group or you had to get into some shops, maybe we could run it by it, we could bring, you know, some people up and do, you know, one night. But our action is basically going to get them for sanitation, you know, combs and dirtiness and, you know, not having a clean shop, but we could provide access. But what I want to say is, of all the 351 communities we go to, this community is probably one of the most helpful that we deal with, thanks to Pat. And, you know, we'll do whatever you want, but I think that would be the way to go. Ordinance, and then, you know, we could put on the record, you know, we have a standardized application for the shop, but none of the professions we license, we regulate their hours. That would probably be through the lease, through the zoning, or something like that, you know.
Can you repeat the last part you just said?
Excuse me?
Can you repeat the last part that you just said in terms of regulating licenses?
About?
Regulating
Oh,
the
okay,
other
so in
license.
other words, if you sent around your police officers, and I apologize, if you sent around your police officers and they found that 10 barbershops were open after 9 o'clock at night, violating your ordinance, then we could get the report, we could get it certified, and then we could bring the person in saying that they're violating your law. You know, I don't think we could revoke their license, but we could definitely, you know, drive home so that, you know, we'd instill on them, not only are you upset about it, but we're also upset about it. Now, as far as a barbershop goes, and it's mostly barbershops that are causing these issues, you have a facility license, and then you have to have a master barber oversee the place. What we find a lot of times is you go around to these shops, they're either unlicensed or there's no master on the premises. So that might be another way to go. If one of your police officers went around to these shops at, you know, 1 o'clock in the morning and said, "Who's your master?" You know, something like that, and then we could take action. I'd gladly, you know, talk to the police officers or whatever you want. Whatever you need, we're here to help, you know.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
The city doesn't have, neither our licensing board doesn't have the authority over barbershop and salons licenses. Am I correct?
I don't know about Lawrence, but some communities do through the health department,
Okay.
but I defer to council. You don't. So, but if you found that they were breaching the peace, then that in turn could roll into our license.
Yeah, it could, but, good evening, councilors. There's no ordinance on the books currently, so I think, I agree 100% with Mr. Carroll. We need to have something, and we could prepare something fairly quickly to get on the books and give the city some oversight and some enforcement authority, and you know, whatever the council feels appropriate in terms of restrictions, maybe zones of appropriate, you know, appropriate placement for barbershops, times of operation, restrictions on alcohol and smoking and things like that, obviously, but, no, we could get something put together fairly quickly.
And one last one before I forget. Many, many years ago, we had a situation in downtown Boston that there were upscale salons, and they were serving liquor at night. And one of our companion agencies at the, at the state level is the Alcoholic Beverage Commission. And I notified them, and they dealt with the issue too. So if you have a chronic group that's doing a lot of drinking in the place, they're always doing sweeps,
Okay, so my understanding is that the city council don't have any jurisdiction in canceling any licenses regarding barbershops or salons. So I understand that. But we also mentioned that we can create an ordinance, which Attorney Bodie has presented us with a sample of a possible ordinance that we can approve. So my question is, do we have to go to you directly for violations, or can the zoning board cancel the license of an establishment that is in violation of the ordinance?
I would be safe to say we're probably the moving party to cancel the license. I don't think the zoning board, and I'll defer to, no comprendo siempre, pero sigo trabajando.
Tampoco yo entiendo esas cosas. The license granting authority is the same authority that would revoke it or suspend it or take any action on it, so it wouldn't be the city.
Okay.
However, the code violation would be enforceable, and we could shut them down if they go beyond. Their hours of operation is separate from their licensure.
Yes.
So the hours of operation, if you were to set a standard for that. Similarly, now, what's before you is a proposal to create a new chapter in the municipal code to regulate barbershops and beauty salons. And it only has one section, and that is a limitation on time, because that's all you said. But as I'm sitting here tonight, I'm hearing entertainment and so forth, and I think it would be just as easy for you to put in a section 2 and a section 3. Section 2 might be entertainment. Any barbershop that would have some sort of an automated coin-operated amusement device would have to obtain an entertainment license. And you could also have that no barbershop can provide alcohol, which actually is the case anyway, but putting it in there gives you another,
So this is
it makes it more direct.
Okay.
Anybody reading it says, oh yeah, that's a direct violation, has to say, well, you don't have a liquor license.
So that's something that can be added to this, to
We
your
could, we
suggestion?
can, if that's something that interests you, yes.
Okay.
And then what we could do is if they violated it and you provide us the violation, then what I would do is docket a complaint at our agency, and we'd also, decide what we should do. I don't think the first time would be a revocation, but we would definitely put them on notice that we don't tolerate the violation of the local municipal ordinances. In addition, if you have a problem up here, and for example, if the police raid a barber shop and they find drugs and they make arrests, we notify us, because we have a device called summary suspension, where there's imminent danger, where we feel there's imminent danger to the public, and we can suspend their license. So don't be shy on telling us, if there's an arrest made and there's a conviction, it has to be a conviction. We will take action on that person's license, and that person, not only will we take action, even if it's a minor offense. So for example, if someone gets arrested and it's a minor offense, not to rise to the level of closing the barbershop, they have to tell us on their next renewal that they have had a criminal conviction. And if they don't, this particular board then will suspend their license for a particular time, not because of the offense, but because of not telling the board that they had this issue. So please, if there's a problem up here, if there's an arrest, I can only read the Globe so much or something and find something. You've got my card, call us, and we'll follow up that way.
Madam Chair, my feeling is that probably we should add a couple of things, a couple of sessions.
Before we get that point.
Yeah, you know, send it back to the city attorney and ask him to include the matter of alcohol, prohibiting the distribution or servicing, service alcohol in either a barber shop or a salon, and also the entertainment. You were talking about entertainment with coin-operated entertainment?
What,
It was, I mean, I understand it's cool, but a lot of pool tables are coin operated. I mean, you'd have to,
Yes.
you'd have some sort of an expansive definition of, it could be coin operated. I would think also live entertainment would be something. There are other factors. I'm not sure if you've
Right.
had issues with live entertainment.
oh,
but-
we have,
Yeah.
and then the other issue too is that you should think about. I've encountered over the years where some of these barber shops have been, selling knockoffs. The last time I was up here in January, the complaint was about all these knockoffs and, products being sold. I think there should be a limitation on, some of them become just a front for selling, hot items or, items that are knockoffs. They should decide whether they want to be a barber or they want to be a, retail outlet for CDs or whatever. I would limit that they can't, what is it, a victular license? They don't go into that world.
That's for food.
Yeah, no, I mean for retail, non-related, they can't sell non-related, cosmetology and barber items. That's huge.
Madam Chair.
And that's where you get a lot of the problems. And we've encountered, what I'd also, I know that you have to have a full quorum, and I know that the solicitors are busy. I could reach out to Springfield and maybe get what they have and forward it to you, if that's okay. Yeah. Why reinvent the wheel,
Councilor Rodriguez.
Sure. Thank you, Madam Chair. So you mentioned that how many different type of license do you or your department regulate
Yeah, for barbering,
in general?
you have
General, how many type of license you guys regulate?
for barbering, there's three types, a master.
No. In general, any type of career or.
Oh,
any
with
type
us,
of-
we have 28 professions,
28.
28.
28 professions.
And we also do now we have private occupational schools, which is non-degree granting schools.
So how many of those license or professions you can regulate the time?
How many do I regulate at a time?
The time on it? How many of those?
They're asking, do they have time limitations on those licenses as imposed by your office? In other words,
Oh, okay, sure. Most of the licenses are 1 year.
No, I'm not asking for that.
like time of operation?
Time of
None-
operation?
Zero.
None, zero.
Zero, I'm sorry.
So this is gonna be a precedent if we regulate barbers, right? In terms of time?
Not really, because where I live in my community, I see the licensing boards all the time restricting the license of the repair shop. You can't be open on the weekends, you can't be, because they think of the needs of the community. When we license a place, we don't get involved in, unfortunately, the impact on the community. But on this particular case, if a barber shop is clustered within a residential community, which many of them are, you have to restrict it. So we don't, but there's every community in the Commonwealth, whether it's an automobile shop, a body shop, a nightclub, they restrict hours all the time. So I wouldn't say you're restricting you're just adapting the licensure for the needs of the community,
All right, let me ask you a question.
I bet you if there was a barber shop in a strip mall where there was no people around, and the barber shop came in front of whatever governing board here and said, can we stay an extra hour, you might think about it, so.
So let me ask you a question. Right now, if the police department decide, I'm assuming, okay, let me ask you another question. Those professions they are subject to, for them to be able to operate, they are subject to have an occupancy permit and a master license on site, correct?
Correct.
So if any enforcement authority walk into that barber shop or beauty salon and ask for the master, and the master is not on site, they be able to close it down, right?
I would, well, we tell them to cease we tell them to cease all operations, finish who you're cutting the hair of, and you can stay there and answer the phone, but you can't, do any services. We don't go as far as shutting them down. We tell them that you can't service clients.
So if any particular city or town decide to go that route and actually enforce any type of regulation and somehow denied the occupancy permit if they violate that particular statute, is that a possibility? That will be more like for the attorneys. I can repeat the question
They
for
were
you.
chronic offender.
In
could
case
you
that,
yank their
in
occupancy
case that
permit?
the barber shop or a beauty salon doesn't have a master and they violate that statutes of the law several times, can we revoke the occupancy permit?
No, because an occupancy permit is based upon compliance with the building code and the safety code, the health code. It's not based on compliance with the requirements of the license.
Can we add that to the code? To the requirements for the occupancy permit program? That deal specifically with barber shops?
I don't think you could, but I think you could potentially have some sort of a mechanism. What is our review at the local level of a beauty salon or a barber shop license? I don't think there's any.
Yes.
No, there isn't.
What is
Well, there
our-
is, yes.
The role you play is when we're opening up a salon, you have to get the blessing from the building department, plumbing sign off, electrical, ordinances that the building's, safe and regular.
In
That's
terms
the
of the
occupancy.
safety and health,
Yeah.
if the safety and the health are at
Well-
risk, and then the occupancy permit can be revoked.
The Board of Health might be able to, under its regulations, shut them down because I'm assuming that the reason you require a master license on the premises at all times.
Because
is
everybody's
because-
apprentice,
Is to
otherwise.
ensure health and safety, people come in, they have skin diseases, infestations, what have you, and you don't want that communicated from one customer to the next. So that's, part of the master's job is to oversee all of that and ensure that there's compliance with all the standards of care in the profession. And so I suppose if the Board of Health found that there was some imminent threat, there must be some mechanism under which the Board of Health could act. I
So
don't know what
because-
that would be off the top of my head.
Yes.
There's gotta be, you couldn't suggest, for example, that, someone had lice and their hair could be cut and they could use the same equipment to cut that person's hair, to cut the next 20 people's hair without caring for it, and that we, the city, couldn't do something to stop it.
And the only person that might,
Yeah.
and the only person that is actually capable to manage the shop is the master. Am I correct? Correct, right.
He
Yeah.
asked if,
The only person that is capable of,
translate from English to English now. He asked if the only one who can oversee the operation is the master.
Yes, he's the captain of
that's
the
according
ship.
to the law.
According to the requirements of the license.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is basically what I don't want to get into it is if there is 28 different professions that the state regulate under your department, and none of them there is any regulation on none of them in terms of the license and time requirements, that's troubling to me.
Well, it shouldn't be troubling to you because many of our professions aren't of the retail nature. So we have engineers. Think of what we license. Engineers, plumbers, they go to the home, they go to the commercial environment. Embalmers, they have a funeral home. So this is probably the ones that have we don't have many that we regulate that are brick and mortar. In other words, we have real estate shops, offices, but they're getting few and far between. So this is probably, the barbers and the manicurists and the Cosmo are probably the only ones that we have that are brick and mortar, and we don't assess the needs of the community. And this boils down to the fact that, it's a public safety issue where, people are just trying to sleep at night and, safety issues. So that's why.
Yeah, because of the lack of of control, we are basically telling a group of people you cannot be open till this amount of time. This is what is troubling to me, the concept of it, because we have to have control and not necessarily having a group of business suffering because we as a city do not have the control that we require and that we need. That's what's troubling to me, the concept of this possible ordinance that is going to affect any specific business, a target.
Well, I would tend to say also that this is probably just a handful. You have a lot of reputable barbershops that close at 6 and go home. This is people that are just expanding the use of a shop.
And that's basically what I was saying before, that if we have a requirement that a master is supposed to be present every time that the shop is open, if we can shut them down in terms of operation, because of they not having the master. And I'm assuming that if a master is in place at one specific time.
Yeah. Well, out of respect to what you feel, many of these shops that I've been into in all these communities where there has been a problem, the master is just as bad as far as, the master's allowing it to go on and they're there. So, we could eventually take some action on the master, but, I think everyone in this room is interested in the public health and safety, and it's obvious that this, by these shops exceeding the use of what they're deemed to do is, a public safety threat.
It could be, and actually, I have no problem whatsoever regulating those shops that stay open, doing something that is not cutting hair.
Right.
And disturbing the public, by all means. But if we just have an ordinance that says all of the barbershop and beauty salon, trust me, people go to the beauty salon 11:30, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock to do what they're supposed to do and not necessarily to go and party. So if there is some, or let's say perhaps a percentage of them that are doing something wrong or bad, why not target those specific ones and not necessarily having a situation that is going to affect the others that are doing the right thing.
Well,
I personally have been cutting my hair at 11 o'clock at night. And I'm not doing the wrong thing. That's what I'm saying. It's at least another way that we can actually do this and not just boom.
I guess, first of all, I just want to say that the licensing authority has the right to regulate all the things that relate to the license, which is the conduct of the work. So if you're a plumber, the licensing authority needs to know that you know the standards, you know the code, and you know how to install, et cetera, but they can't tell a plumber not to work on a Sunday. But we can. That doesn't mean we should, and that's your point is where do we draw the line? They can't regulate the time because the time isn't relevant to the skill level, the standard of care, the experience to show that you're worthy of holding. When you get a license, the license more often is suitability, and it is the person who's licensed. Now, the person doesn't have a right, if you're licensed, whether it be a gun right or anything else, you don't have an absolute right. Driver's license, what have you. It's qualified. It can be taken away from you under certain circumstances. Right. But the hours of operation are something that aren't anything to do with the suitability of licensees, so that's why they don't have authority over this. And what you're saying, and it took me a little bit to understand it, but I do get it, what you're saying is, if we come in and we say, all barbershops have to close at 9 o'clock, then we're penalizing barbershops that might be legitimate and doing nothing but barbershop work or beauty salon work who want to stay open, and they're not a problem. So trying to find a middle ground. It sounds to me, based on what I've heard tonight, that the problem, or one of the problems, is these other activities being conducted in a beauty salon, and that's perhaps what we're trying to prohibit, at least initially, and the hours of operation are a factor too, but perhaps if the ordinance, if we put aside for a moment the time constraints and just say, there shall be no entertainment. Entertainment shall be defined as coin-operated devices, betting machines, gambling machines, live shows, large television screens, pool, what have you, and there shall be no sale of merchandise other than that related to cosmetology and barbering and so on. I'm not sure exactly, because I'm not an expert in barbershops or in beauty salons. Take a look at me. But, you know, maybe if we start prohibiting these dual uses, and a barbershop must only be a barbershop, and a barbershop, you know, if you're going to have 17 people in line, you need to have a certain staffing level. Maybe those are the things that we should be looking at to ensure that there's no liquor sales, drug sales, adult entertainment, live entertainment, amusements, betting, gambling, what have you. I don't know.
Which basically what we're doing is regulating the proper way, not just shutting them down.
Yeah.
I agree with that 100%.
Yeah, maybe.
This is basically the control we should have in every type of business.
And I'm not, as I say, I'm not
Because if it
advocating
is
either way.
If
I'm
something
just
is
trying to fine tune, based on your comment, I'm trying to fine tune the regulation so that it restricts the conduct we want prohibited, as opposed to a generalization, don't be
because
open.
think about it, like, look, at 6 o'clock, anything can happen. They can just stop cutting hair at 5, start partying at 6, finish at 9, 3 hours of party. Are we fixing the problem? No. Time shouldn't be a restraint. What should be a restraint is the control that we should be looking into. And if there is any illegal activity, which we're going to define what means illegal. I'm fine with that, but in terms of timing, I don't think so, because I mean, it should be something else. It should be the true control, not just time. So the ordinance should be more comprehensive and should be we gotta be thinking more about the issue, not just the time.
Right, just one thing that would make your life easier.
Can you speak up in the mic?
Oh, one more thing.
Thank
In our statute, all licenses have to be posted. So if someone goes into a barber shop and says, you know, where's your license? And the person says, I don't have it, or, you know, I'm not going to produce it. They do have to be posted. So that might be helpful for your local law enforcement people when there's 6 people cutting hair and there's only 2 licenses posted.
So when you go to Boston, perhaps, or other communities that are similar to Lawrence in terms of barbershop and in terms of beauty salon, what problems do you think is do you have like a list of problems that you have encouraged or faced of seeing on those barbershops?
We've encountered the entertainment, the noise. We've encountered pool tables, large screen TVs, congregations in front of the barbershops where, you know, people can't walk down the side street, you know. Motorcycles in barbershops we've encountered, where they brought the motorcycles right into the barbershop, and animals. You know, we've encountered that where they brought animals in.
In terms of health.
Excuse me?
In terms of health.
In
terms of health. What problems have you?
Sanitary.
Sanitary issues.
Dirty. You know, not not clean. Food. You know, chemicals, improper storage of chemicals. You know, flammable chemicals. You know, I could go on. You know, I've been doing it for 20 years.
Just go on, because I mean, those are things that I think we should be looking into.
Okay. Well, what I'll do is I'll get some other ordinances from communities where it's covered and share it with your councilors.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Madam Chair, I actually believe that we should keep this item at this level and keep on working on this, because there is a lot of work that we should be looking into, and a lot of things that we should actually work on.
Before we call the motion, thank you for being here. Before we call the motion, thank you
pleasure.
for being here.
My pleasure.
It's a lot of information that I'm sure is going to be useful.
Right.
Thank you, Councilor Rodriguez, to open up and try to clarify many issues or concern that we might have from now on. Thank you both for being here. Without your help, probably a lot of question is going to be in the mood without any answer. But before we call the question, I just want to ask the author what and how he feel about it.
I have spoken to several owners of barbershops, and one of their concerns is that barbershops that are open from 9 a.m. until 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, the barbers themselves are extending themselves beyond the limitation of what they can do physically. So I believe that there's a problem of health and safety, not only for the barber, but also for the person that is getting service. Most of the owners that I spoke to, they say that there should be no reason why a barbershop should open beyond 9 o'clock. We are talking about a barber working from 9 in the morning to 9 o'clock in the evening, which is 12 hours straight. While I understand that some people may choose to go and get a haircut at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, I understand that's their choice. It seems to me that barbershops opening so late has become a nuisance to the city. And my feeling is that this is something that we should regulate, since the licensing commission at the state level doesn't regulate that. So what I would like to do is make a motion that we ask the city attorney to include in this session, for our suggestion, include the regulation of alcohol in barber shop and salon, and also to include the entertainment in barber shop and salon, and come back with that recommendation to us. And again, I would like to make that in form of a motion.
Before you call the motion, I just want to find a middle ground in here. So do you feel comfortable just to leave her at table?
Oh, yes.
And before we send it out, what I'm planning to do is I want to be part of this. I want to get involved. I want to do more researches. I want to visit places and kind of face what is the really situations, instead of be sending documents to what language or draft a different language, because this is going to be continue coming back and forth and we're not going anywhere. Do you feel more comfortable just to leave a table until we do those researches and then we can come back to it? Can you do that?
Oh, yes, yes, definitely.
So don't send it to draft any language or add any communication yet. Let me just be part of this, and just to kind of, we can work this together, okay?
Okay.
So motion to table document 21216.
So move.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Thank you. Really appreciate your help. So the other document is,
Is,
sí, pero we have another. Okay, so is document, can I get a motion to take document 11317 out of table and out of order?
so move.
113, 17.
Second, yep, second page.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Document 11317 is a local auction prohibited to the sale of marijuana in the city of Lawrence. That has been put on the agenda by Councilor Maldonado and Councilor De Peña.
Madam Chair, the last meeting of the Ordinance Committee, I was not able to be present to discuss this particular item. Nevertheless, I had asked, if you recall, we had a presentation by a group of people that have a movement across the state to regulate or to prohibit the sales of marijuana in their own cities or town. And they provided the city attorney for some documents, and I asked the city attorney to draft. So this was supposed to be discussed at the last meeting, but again, I wasn't here. And I asked Attorney Bodie to be present tonight so that we can review. There are 3 items here. Okay, you have the citizen petition for a referendum. Okay, and also you have the ordinance that will prohibit the sale of marijuana, the sale and use in any public. And also you have a zoning change that will also control that. So I asked the city attorney to come in tonight so that we can, if we have any questions, that we can ask him to explain what the ordinance is, and also about the language of the referendum.
You might as well, if he's here and he can walk us through, that would be great. And the good thing is you don't have to translate it. Go straight for.
Thank heavens. As Councilor Maldonado said, he spoke with me on several occasions regarding this, and we did a couple of different drafts. But the first thing we did was we took a look at the statute that was passed by the citizens of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, and it does allow communities to opt out, but it sets forth a method by which each community can do it, and it is a petition under General Law, Chapter 94G, Section 3B, which is the marijuana, what I'll call the marijuana law. So seeing that that's the case, we did prepare a language for a petition. It's not a petition itself, but I'm not sure if it's the first document you have. It's the first document on my pile. It's just a proposed language for the petition. This was done initially, and then it was tweaked. We expanded the types of marijuana facilities that would be prohibited if the citizens were to sign the petition. And there is a method that's set forth in the city charter as to what standards are necessary for petition, etc. So I'm going to refer to something that we're all very familiar with, and that's a recall petition, because we've seen 6 of them or so in the past 5, 6, 7 years here in the city of Lawrence. And it would be a process similar to that, in which people would go out and collect signatures on a form, and then they would turn those signatures in. The Board of Registrars would certify the requisite number of signatures, and if the requisite number of signatures were there, it would then go before the City Council to order that the question be placed on the ballot. So that's one thing, and it's well, I'll come back to that in a second. The second thing that's in here is this was drafted back in April. It's an ordinance which is captioned for our purposes here in the Lawrence Municipal Code, marijuana, not medically prescribed zoning ordinance. And this is an ordinance that's taken from Bridgewater and other towns which are using essentially the same form as this. This language, the language of this ordinance, has been examined already by the Attorney General's office, and the Attorney General's office has approved it in the case of other communities. So this would regulate zoning here in the city, and if I can just read it out loud to you, I know you have it in front of you, but it's somewhat self-explanatory. It says, consistent with the provisions of Chapter 94G, Section 1, all types of marijuana establishments as defined in 94G, Section 1J, including marijuana cultivators, marijuana testing facilities, marijuana product manufacturers, marijuana retailers, marijuana dispensaries, marijuana laboratories, or any other type of licensed marijuana-related business are prohibited within the city of Lawrence. That language is essentially, as I said, language that's been adopted in other communities and has been passed by those communities and approved by the Attorney General's office. If we were to adopt that, that would presumably pass muster with the Attorney General's office as well. In order for us to pass a zoning ordinance such as this, The matter has to be taken up by the planning board and the zoning board, both of whom, because for zoning amendments, there's a little bit of a different procedure than just for a general ordinance. And this is a zoning amendment. This, as you know, in section, I think it's, is it 2918, I think it is, of the Lawrence Revised Zoning Act, it sets forth a use table, what uses are prohibited, what uses are allowed by right, and what uses can be obtained through a special permit or some other means, and whether those special permits have special requirements that adhere to them. And so this would be a method of adopting uses with respect to marijuana retail sales, cultivation, etc. So it would require a referral from this subcommittee back out to planning and zoning also for their consideration, and for them to take an affirmative vote to adopt it. That would come back to you with that affirmative vote and your affirmative vote. It could go back to the full council for public hearing and then passage if the votes are there. I do want to say that Lawrence is a little bit lax. We have already a law that's been in existence for a few years that permits medical marijuana usage and sales, and the city of Lawrence does not have any zoning that regulates that. I put something down to several different branches of government, including the executive and the legislative branch of the city government, back in December, I think it was December 21st, where I had taken several ordinances from other communities and looked at them and tried to compile one that was the best that we could pass based on those things. My concern is this: right now we don't have anybody looking to locate a medical marijuana facility, whether it be manufacturing or sales here in the city of Lawrence, but someday we may and probably will. And when that happens, we don't have any regulation, so that can go in next door to a school, next door to a church, next door to a methadone clinic, or you could have an addiction treatment facility, and right next to it you could be selling medical marijuana or even recreational marijuana. There are mixes of uses which are, by virtue of what they are, inconsistent with one another, and certainly where we're treating somebody for an addiction or a disability or a mental illness, and right next door we're offering for sale one of their vices that they're trying to get away from. You know, could be liquor sales for that matter. It wouldn't be prudent to do that. It's you know, taking somebody, giving him treatment, and then exposing him immediately when he walks out from treatment to temptation. So I would say, I guess in closing, this is a first step. I would strongly encourage you as a council to take a look at some zoning regulations for first medical marijuana manufacturing and sales, and then later on recreational uses. I know there's some discussions about regulating whether whether recreational marijuana can be consumed on the premises where there's alcohol being sold and so forth. Lots of new issues that we've never faced before with this new law, Chapter 94G, but certainly we will not be behind the curve. We'll be at the beginning of the curve if we were to consider and choose to pass, if it's the will of the people and the elected officials, these initial regulations.
Madam Chair?
Okay, yes, Councilor
Okay,
Margolis.
so I know that in other, for example, the people that came to us the last time, the town approved the ordinance, and they also put them in the ballot so that at a city election, they could vote in favor or against the ordinance. With us, it's different because a town requires a town meeting.
Yes.
With us, the city council can approve the ordinance given a public hearing, after a public hearing. But in my conversation with you, you also suggested that in order to add strength to this ordinance, that we do a referendum so that at the next city election, which in our case will be the final election in November, the voters can vote in favor or against regulating the sales of marijuana.
Yeah, I look at it as having dual benefits. If one doesn't pass, another may. If you pass both, then it's unlikely that it's going to be overturned, but you pass an ordinance that prohibits it. If the people truly don't want it, but if the votes aren't there long-term at the council level, a citizen-initiated referendum will carry the day. It will be more difficult for a city council in the future, comprised of different city councils, as we get from time to time, to overturn an ordinance where it's been brought in by the people. But we've done that. It's not impossible. As you recall, we had an ordinance, and this is something near and dear to several of you, we had an ordinance that required all city employees to be residents of the city, and then a referendum, citizen referendum, a ballot question, et cetera, took that requirement away, and now there's an effort to put it back in. So, the law is always going to change. It's not immutable, but if you've got very big concerns about marijuana and its retail sales and its both medical and recreational use in the city, then putting something together here that doesn't allow its cultivation or its retail sale may be a wise move to do it both ways. One may pass, one may not.
Madam Chair, what I would like to do is make a motion that we send up the ordinance to the full council to order a public hearing, and also the zoning, both documents, so that we can order a public hearing on both documents. And I would like to make that as a form of a motion.
Second with discussion.
Second with discussion, Councilor Rodriguez.
So you have essentially two documents that you want to create two different ordinances?
No, one is the ordinance, and the other one is the zoning.
We have three sections on this document. You have the ordinance, you have the question, the valid question, and you have the
Well,
zoning.
we are not going to.
So which one you want to be focused on? I just want to clarify.
We're going to focus only on the ordinance and the zoning.
No, you have to take one, and then we take that one, the second one as a different, because you have two things. You're ordering two public hearings. So.
Yeah, we are going to order two public, okay.
let's
Then
do a separate.
then
Okay,
let me,
that's all right.
let me make a separate.
Yes,
Madam Chair, I would like to make a motion to send,
Hold on.
I'm sorry.
If I could just add for clarification, there are three things we've discussed. The first is this zoning ordinance that prohibits the use at all in all zoning districts. That is what has been passed in other jurisdictions. That is what I think you want to act on.
Yes.
The second thing is a citizen referendum petition, which basically shares the same language. That's nothing you need to act on. It's there for informational purposes because there seems to be a citizen movement to do this. So it's there as an example, but ultimately someone needs to do it. It doesn't need to be, and probably shouldn't be the city council. It should be citizens who do that, but it's there for you to consider. The third thing is some sort of ongoing regulation, a greater regulation of medical marijuana that would say that if we're going to have any sort of medical marijuana dispensary, and again, it might be prohibited under this, but assuming, I'm not sure that's retail sales, but if it were retail sales, et cetera, you want to have some sort of regulation that says if we're going to have a medical marijuana dispensary, that it should be in certain districts and certain distances away from things. Now, I've been here long enough to have suffered the mistake of having a bad ordinance here in the city. Let me go back for about 1994 or 5. I was sitting as a member of the Zoning Board of Appeals here in the city of Lawrence, and Moonlight Reader came in, and they wanted to open up an adult bookstore in the city of Lawrence. In our city zoning ordinance, it prohibited all adult uses, so you couldn't have an adult bookstore. You just couldn't. And so I was sitting on the zoning board, it came in front of us, and there were two lawyers on the board, and we were both looking at each other, realizing that we had a bit of a conundrum, because our ordinance, we couldn't give the relief. We couldn't say, yes, go ahead and open up your bookstore, because our ordinance prohibited it, and we're charged as zoning board members with applying our ordinance as it exists. But we both knew that an out-and-out prohibition against adult uses violated the First Amendment. So the zoning board did what it was supposed to do. We said no. They then turned around and sued us. They got $50,000 from the city because we delayed their opening, and then they opened. I think they just closed, a year. So they were open for 20 years. But that was an instance where we didn't keep our ordinance up with the changes in the world. And similarly, here, you don't want to have a marijuana dispensary next to a school. You probably don't want it next to a psychological treatment center. And until you put those things in, it can go wherever it wants. You probably want it in a business zone. You probably don't want it in a residential neighborhood, but there's nothing, our ordinance doesn't address it, so I think that's something that we need to go. But it's not, as Councilor Rodriguez is saying, it's not something you have to vote on tonight. What I think you guys need, respectfully, what I think you need to do tonight is to look specifically at the language of the proposed zoning ordinance and vote here at this committee to refer it to planning and zoning and maybe hold it here, maybe send it back to the council for the zoning and planning to report to the council. That I'm not sure of.
Okay.
But you want, I would think, a referral out, a motion to refer it out to those boards and bodies for consideration and adoption, and then at some point back to your main body.
Okay, so we need to divide both documents then, right? Okay.
Okay.
So I'm going to make two motions then.
Okay.
The first motion is to send up the ordinance prohibiting the sale of marijuana to the full council to order public hearing, and make that informal motion.
Second discussion.
Second in discussion, Councilor Rodriguez.
Attorney, if we prohibiting with this ordinance the sale of marijuana, why are we saying that the dispensary shouldn't go anywhere? Because we're not gonna sell any type of marijuana. Am I correct, or am I?
No, you are correct. The only thing is, I don't know if it will pass.
So.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, that's the reason, right?
Yeah. One may pass and the other way may not. Maybe there's not votes. I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball. Maybe there aren't enough votes on the city council
Because
to
both, they
outright
kinda
prohibit
contradict.
it.
If we're trying to do something and then there is something else that are
Yeah.
kind of like,
Yes.
play around, I mean, I don't know.
If you out and out prohibit it, I think then you don't need to pass the zoning. But if you don't out and out prohibit it, the zoning is a step in the right
So
direction.
if we approve this one, the public hearing for the zoning is not needed.
Yes.
So we're just
Yes.
gonna work on the zoning portion.
The zoning, we're going to work separately on the zoning.
So are we working today on that?
No,
No.
because I'm going to make the motion to send it to the zoning board so that they can
Gotcha.
come back with recommendations.
And if we approve this, that work is gonna be extra.
No, we are not approving it yet. We are simply
if we
ordering.
If we approve the prohibition of marijuana in the city of Lawrence, that zoning regulation is not gonna be required or needed. That's what I'm saying.
So what, okay.
No, the zoning, there are two different things. One is the
Can you
medical.
clarify, please?
One is medical.
Wait,
Can you
There are
clarify?
two zoning ordinances. One is zoning prohibits retail marijuana. Well, let's read it for 1 second,
Yes.
okay.
because I want to explain a nuance here. Wait a minute, I've lost my copy. Okay. Okay, so 94G, Chapter 3B, or 94G, Section 3B, refers to recreational marijuana. And what this says is, recreational marijuana, all sorts as defined in the recreational marijuana statute, are prohibited. It doesn't necessarily prohibit marijuana dispensaries.
Exactly.
But it depends on your interpretation of what a marijuana establishment. If you look at the language, marijuana establishments as defined in general laws, chapter 94G. The medical marijuana is a different section of the law. It may also be prohibited because it may be the same sorts of definitions, but we can't be sure. But again, I think that because we're gonna confuse this an awful lot, trying to rush to do too much too fast.
Right.
That's what I'm saying, let's
Yeah.
do it right. Let's do it one, let's do it right.
Okay.
Yeah,
so he's-
I would agree. I think take the language of this ordinance, this is the referendum, it's basically the same, but okay, bear with me for a minute. April 20th, 2017, you have a memo from me, I believe.
Yes.
And the memo, it refers to a blank docket number, because I didn't know that we had a document number for this yet. Okay, that one, I think, is what you want to deal with right now. And what this does is, it says, if you pass it, recreational marijuana uses, as defined in Chapter 94G, will be prohibited in the city. Recreational marijuana.
Exactly.
Now, while that's being processed, you may want to start looking at medical marijuana, you may want to start looking at other options, but for the moment, I would do just one and then do another, because if we start having three things running at the same time, all dealing
Right.
with the same subject, each and every one, Councilor Rodriguez is accurate. I've become confused tonight dealing with this, and I wrote it. You three are somewhat confused, if I can say that respectfully. We're all confusing each other,
Yes.
and we're confusing about the medical, the recreational, and the petition. Let's bite off one chunk, move it through, and then we'll start the next one. I think that's smoother, less confusing, and you know what? It's more deliberate and deliberative, and will allow the public to have input at every stage for the different nuances as we go forward.
Okay, so what you're suggesting now is that we only go with the section 29.9. Am I correct?
I'm sorry, could you say it again? 94.9?
94 point.
What you are
29.9?
suggesting is that we only go with the ordinance.
Yes,
Which is basically the prohibition.
Okay.
yes, Counselor.
And that's what I'm saying, that's the motion that I'm making,
It
to
is.
send it up to order of public hearing,
Yes.
Okay.
that's all.
Well,
can I-
send it up to order a public hearing conditioned upon the Planning and Zoning Board's coming back with favorable reports.
Exactly.
If I could suggest that.
Second,
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have it.
in terms of the memorandum, I would like to, Madam Chair,
Yes.
through you. In terms of the memorandum, which is the ballot question,
Yes.
what do we need to do to have that available tomorrow at the city clerk in case people want to pick it up?
I have asked the city clerk if he would put it on a form. He's reluctant to do that, but I don't think there's a problem with him putting it on a proper form, or not to necessarily promote it, but to hand it out and say, if this came back to me in a form similar to this, it would be acceptable and meet the legal requirements.
So do I need to make a motion to send it to him? Out
No,
of this
because
body?
just a point of information. This is something that would be initiated by citizens.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, in
So
case-
we don't have to do anything.
In case that we need to have it for tomorrow, do we have to send it to him and make it available?
I think,
Or just,
I think if you just simply, if you instructed him as his supervisors, if you instructed him to please place it in proper form.
Right.
And then if somebody comes to the clerk's office in the next few days and asks for it, he'll be able to say, well, I have a form if you want to do it.
okay,
Yeah, but his question is if we have to send
We
it
have to
through a
send-
motion, or if
or-
he's simply, he can make a phone call and ask him to do an.
or send the correspondence to him?
I think you could just send correspondence to
I
him
would like to,
through
send the
Teresa
correspondence to
Nazario.
the city clerk and make, this ballot question or memorandum available in case people need it,
Okay,
just the last part.
Now, the last, Madam Chair, the last thing is to refer the zoning to the zoning board, right?
Zoning and planning, yes.
zoning
Okay.
plan.
Madam Chair, I make the motion that we refer this document regulating the medical use of marijuana to the zoning board for their opinion and recommendation.
Second the motion.
The motion has been made, properly second. All those in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Thank you, Counselor.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I have another item on the agenda, item 112, and I'm wondering if since I happen to be here, if the board, excuse me, if the
112 what?
subcommittee would
Okay, got it.
consider taking it.
Can I get a motion to take document 11217 out of table and out of order?
Second. So move.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
The
Aye.
ayes have it.
Councilors, for the record, Charles Body. This item is for the dedication of the intersection of Middlebury Street and Nelson Street in Lawrence, which is located up on Tower Hill, as Jeremiah J. O'Connor Square. Jeremiah J. O'Connor was a Lawrence patrolman who was killed on the line of duty on November 14th, 1950. The story of how this officer who was killed on the line of duty came to the attention of the police department was detailed in a local newspaper last month. And it took Justin Crow going through all the records of the Lawrence Police Department to find this. We did a similar dedication to Eugene F. Scanlon Sr. in South Lawrence about a year and a half ago. The dedication of that square was at the location where Mr. Scanlon lived. It was right across the street from the home that he lived in and was raising his family in at the time of his death. This proposal is to name the intersection of Middlebury Street and Nelson Street up on Tower Hill, which is right where Mr. O'Connor lived at the time of his death in 1950, roughly 67 years ago. His descendant is a police officer, much like Officer Scanlon, and I think the oversight of not recognizing him fully as a member of the Lawrence force killed in the line of duty would be rectified somewhat by dedicating the square. I would ask you for a favorable recommendation to the full councils.
I would like to make a motion to send it to the full council with a favorable recommendation.
Second.
Motion has been made, properly second. All those in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Thank
Thank
you,
you,
Charles.
Counselor.
Thank you.
Thank you, Charles.
Okay. Can I get a motion to take,
No problem. Go ahead.
okay, let me just go back. Here's one document that I want to take. Okay. Can I get a motion to take document 41416 out of table and out of order?
So move. 414?
Third.
I'm sorry,
Yes, 414, 414. Three.
page 3?
Yep.
I made the motion.
Second.
All's in favor?
Aye.
Can I get a motion to send correspondent to Officer Scanlon for study review?
So move.
And also, okay, all's in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Can I get a motion to send it with no recommendation pending that report from Officer Scanlon to order a public hearing?
So move.
Second.
All's in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have it.
I'd like to make a motion to take item 8317 out of the table matters.
83.
17.
They have to be out of order and out of table because we have,
Out of table, yes.
Second.
all's in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Which page is that one?
Second. 8317.
Okay.
Madam Chair, we'd like to send correspondence to Officer Scanlon and the DPW Director, or the city engineer, either or, to start working on this. This is a safety issue.
Okay. So can I hear a second?
Second.
All's in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. You want a table?
We'd like to table item 8317.
Motion to
Second.
table document 38516, right? 85, I'm sorry.
8317.
8317.
Can I hear a second?
I did.
Sec-
Second.
Second, all's in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Let me just go back to the agenda and then, okay. Can I get a motion to take document 158, 159, 161, 163, and 164 as a block?
So move.
Second.
All's in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Can I get a motion to send document 158, 159, 160, 61, and 163, and 164 to offices Callan?
So move.
Second.
All's in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have it.
You got
Can-
65.
165, can I get a motion to send, this one goes to offices Callan too?
Yeah.
So move.
Second.
165, Pat, also.
155.
65,
165.
yeah, 165 to offices Callan.
173 and
One,
176 as well.
okay,
73.
and okay, document
76.
173, motion to send it to offices Callan.
Second. I so move.
Second.
All's in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have it. And the last one,
76.
and 176,
Yes.
to send it to offices Callan.
Second. So move.
Second.
All's in favor?
Aye.
The ayes
I
have
would
it.
like to take item 87, 17. and out of
187.
matters.
87?
17, 89, 17, sorry.
89.
Second page, yes.
Second the motion.
All's in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have it.
I would like to make a motion to send it to the DPW department, to refer that item to the DPW department as well as Officer Scallon. Officer Scallon already have it, but it.
Or you want to send correspond?
Correspondence to the DPW department.
I second the motion.
Motion has been made, properly second. All's in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Motion to table document.
Second, I so move.
Second.
All's in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Any other table item before I start reading the report?
Madam Chair, make the motion that we table document 15817, 15917, 16117, 16317, 165, 16517, 17317, and 17617 to table the documents.
Second.
All's in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Okay, we're just gonna go through the report from Officer
Yeah.
Scala. The first one is document, can I get a motion to take document 14517 out of table?
So
Second.
move.
Second.
All's in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Can I get a motion to, the recommendation is to place the the handicap on 22 Leslie Street. Can I get a motion to send it with a favor recommendation to order public hearing?
So move.
Second.
All's in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Can I get a motion to take document 14717 out of table?
So move.
Second.
All's in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Counselor, I had a chance to check all the placards, so all the papers is in order. It's only one that I'm going to stop and I'm going to send it with recommendation, just pending that copy of the placard, okay? So otherwise, I'm just gonna,
Shouldn't we order a public hearing at the same time?
yes, we are gonna be ordering, okay. Document 147 is also a handicap at 280 Broadway Street, and that came out with favor recommendation. Can I get a motion to send it with favor recommendation to order public hearing?
So move.
Second.
All's in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have it. The next document is document 15617 at the table.
So move.
Second.
All's in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have it. This also came out, what?
Positive.
Yes. So that is going to be placed on Kendall Street and King Street. So can I get a motion to send document 15617 to order a public hearing
So move.
with favor recommendation?
Second.
All's in favor? The ayes have it. The next document is 13417.
Also positive.
Yes?
Motion to order, to send it up, order public hearing on the
Second.
document 134.
Thank you. So all's in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have it. The next document is 11817.
118.
Yep, that's 118, second page,
11817, I would like to make a motion to send it to the full council.
to,
To order
for a
public
public
hearing.
hearing.
Second.
all's in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have it. The next document is 12117.
I would like to make a motion to send it to the full council to order public hearing.
Second.
All's in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have it. The next document is 12217. Also come out with favor recommendation. That is going to
No,
be,
sorry.
yeah, it's
122?
loading zone, 122. One zone requesting the name of business, exact address, so I can properly determine where the loading zone can be placed. The informant can be sent
Which document is that?
by email.
So
Okay.
they asking,
Which document is that?
Well, that's 122.
122?
122.
so,
So,
we need to send the correspondence to the
the
part of-
applicants,
To the applicant,
yes. We-
to asking them to send. the
Offices,
site.
Carlo, need more information about where they are looking to locate the zoning, the loading zone. So what we are gonna do is, we are going to send correspondence to the applicants, and we are gonna leave a table until, we got, that information. Okay?
Tabling?
Tabling, yep.
Motion-
information
Motion to
to-
table.
Pat, did you get that we're gonna be sending correspondence to the
To
applicants?
the applicant for the
Yes,
proper
yep.
name?
And they can send that by email to
Yep.
expedite the process. The email is over here.
Motion to table document 122.
Second.
All's in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have it. The next document is 8217.
Motion to send it to the full council,
To
to hold
order.
a public hearing.
Second.
All's in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. The next document is 117. Also,
It's
so it
assigned
should
to the
be.
place- Yes, it's assigned with a favor recommendation, so I would like to.
Yes,
117.
100.
117.
Yeah, so I would like to
I don't
make a
have a
motion to
copy,
send it to the
but
full
that's
council to order public hearing.
Second.
All's in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have it. So the next document is document 10317. This also okay, that's also, yep. Can I get a motion to send a document 103 to order a public hearing with the favor
So moved.
recommendation?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Okay. This one is the one that has been put in the agenda by myself. The applicants has the placard.
Which one is that?
That
So
is,
let's get it out of
document,
out of the-
can I get a motion to take document 5717
So move. Out of the table.
Second.
so
out
move.
of table?
Second.
All's in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Right there. Can I get a motion to send, document 57 to order a public hearing pending the documentation of the placard, that he has the copy of it?
So move.
Second.
As what, please?
57.
I know, but pending what?
Pending the report of the placard. He didn't fill out the application.
So we're gonna send correspondence to?
I can talk to
Oh,
him.
okay.
Yeah, I can bring it for the next. He has it. So can I get a motion to take document
We're
58?
gonna table that already? Or we're
No,
gonna-
we
send
just,
it?
we
Okay.
send it
Send
to
it up
order,
to order
to order
public
public hearing.
So why not 58, 17?
58,
17, I would like, make a motion to take it out of the table matters.
document 58 to take it, so out of table. Can I hear a second?
Second.
All's in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have it.
Motion to send it up to order public hearing.
Second.
All's in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Okay, document 6317,
Motion to take it out of table matter.
yes.
Second.
All's in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have it. And
Motion to send it up to the full council to order public hearing.
Second.
all's in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have it. So we do have another, document, which I believe is the same one of 118.
So now it's 225?
I have 225 and I have 118.
No, we already did 118.
I know we did, but we have also
It's
the same
225.
document, 225. So, but to be saved,
118 is the same as 225?
I'm just checking because this is a forward, no.
No, it's a different one.
That's a different one, 225.
He actually sent an email early today. about that.
Yeah, that was 18, the 118 that he sent that email. And I'm looking for the 225.
That was 11817.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, that,
Are we dealing with 225?
yes,
Okay.
we also need to find
Then
225.
let me make a motion to take it out of table matters.
Yes, right here. Can I get a motion to take document 22515 out of table?
So move.
Page, all's in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have, page 5.
I would like to make a motion that we send it up to order of public hearing.
Second?
All's in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have it. We don't have any more report. Do you want to take any
Motion to adjourn?
motion to adjourn?
Second.
All's in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Thank you, Councilor.